everyone, and welcome to this AGORA titled Teaching us a Living Life, Challenges and Reflections. So we are happy to share this space where teaching is seen not just a profession, but as a space of creativity and growth. So our classrooms are living labs where every day brings new challenges and expected discoveries. So this Agora is designed to explore those teaching moments that go beyond theory, the ones that make us think, adapt, and grow in our sites, in our classrooms, every day. Okay, so let's start with the objective of this Agora session. Dina, please. The previous one. Okay, so the objective of this session is to reflect, share, and celebrate real teaching experiences that inspire professional growth and innovation. So let's go with the agenda for today. So dear students, we have 5 steps today, 5 things to do today. So the first one is opening reflection. We are going to reflect about what I wasn't taught, but I learned by teaching. That is going to last for about 10 minutes. And it's an individual reflection and collective sharing of key lessons from teaching experience. Then we are going to proceed with inspiring experience. So we are going to have a guest teachers that is going to have a testimony. It's going to give a testimony that is going to last for about 20 minutes. Then we are going to continue with a poster walk. In this space, you are going to present some different projects and different resources that you have present, that you have developed. And for that activity, we are going to have 60 minutes. Then we are going to continue with the project voting. So you are going to vote for the best products and research products. And that is going to be for about 10 minutes. Then we are going to have a final reflection and closing for about 10 minutes. And the last activity today is to the event feedback. So you are going to fill in an attendance form and also a feedback, okay? So welcome to this session. Let's go with the first activity, that is opening reflection, what I wasn't taught, but I learned by teaching, with the teacher Valeria. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Let me share, please. I need you to stop sharing. Diana, please, so that I can share my screen. Thank
Dina,
you.
please.
Okay, welcome everybody to this Agora session. We're really glad to have you here. So what are we going to do right now? We would like you to reflect in your teaching experiences. What I wasn't taught by learned by teaching. We would like you to think about all the takeaways you have learned by teaching. So you need to record 1-minute video. It can be shorter, or write a brief text addressing the following questions. What are the questions? What is one significant takeaway you learned through teaching that was not explicitly taught to you? And the other question that you need to address in this answer that we are going to provide is, why do you think this takeaway is important for other educators to consider? So what are you going to do? You are going to provide your answers through this Padlet. I'm going to send you the link through the chat, and then I want you to send your answers. There is an example there. I have written my reflection. You can also record, remember that. One important takeaway I learned through teaching was the ability to make real-time decisions in the classroom. I remember that as a novice teacher, I used to plan too many activities for the class. But during the lesson, I needed to decide which activities would be omitted. Most of the time, I succeeded in doing that. Remember, when we start planning, it can be quite difficult to know exactly the time that we need to devote to each activity. So it's something that we all perhaps need to enhance, right, when planning. I believe novice teachers should understand that it's normal to overplan at first, but the key is to take control of the class rather than rigidly sticking to the lesson plan. So to make real-time decisions. That was something that I learned by teaching. What about you? What can you tell me? So I'm going to send you the link, and I hope you professors also help me share this link. Please, with your groups, with your Teams groups, so that they can have access to this. While you answer this question, I would like to ask these two questions to some of the presenters that are here. Who would like to participate and share the experience right now? The ones who are here with us that are going to share today your products, your final products, research ideas, your research proposals, and also your resources. What can you tell me? So who would like to participate to speak right now while the others start writing their answers here? Because you are supposed, I see that there are some people writing right now. See some people writing there and providing their answers. But I need someone here that could help me and provide one of the answers. What about Daisy? Can you hear me, Daisy? Are you there? Daisy, hello.
Yes, teacher.
Daisy, what do you think? What was something that you learned by teaching? Something that was not taught to you, but while you were teaching, you learned. What was it? What? Try to remember the experiences you have had so far.
The need to listen to my students carefully, and the specific situations that they live on in their specific environments.
So that means like knowing a little bit more your students. That means to approach more what perhaps the problems they have. That is what you meant?
Yes. Getting to know their families, their specific context.
And do you think is that important for educators? Why is that important?
Yeah, it's very important because it influences their motivation, their mood in the classroom.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Very good. What about Melissa? What do you think? Can you hear me, Melissa?
Hello, yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, well, something very important that I learned throughout this whole teaching experience is that you have to be prepared for anything that happens in the classroom. Sometimes you plan the perfect class, but it turns out to be a complete disaster because something happens or students don't understand or maybe it was a little boring for them. So you have to be ready for that and sometimes follow the lead of the students so that you can have a better class that will be interesting for them and for us as teachers.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for your reflection. Here I can see some of your opinions, your experiences. No one taught me how to deal with the students who act aggressively, but I figured it out while teaching and realized there is always a reason behind it. No one taught me what to do when a student is sad, depressed, or going through a loss, but I learned how to be there for them while I was teaching. No one taught me how to teach. I've been learning as I go, making mistakes, trying new things. Just knowing grammar topics or how to hold conversation doesn't mean you know how to teach. Yes, that's totally true. You have to find your way and decide what kind of experience you want your students to have. Excellent, very good. No one is recording a video. No one is recording a video because you have the option also to record the video. Yeah, let's check another reflection right here. As a teacher, I initially focused mostly on delivering content clearly and thoroughly. However, I soon realized that students engage much more deeply when they feel heard, respected, and supported. Creating a positive learning environment where students are not afraid to make mistakes or ask questions makes a significant difference in their motivation and progress. This taught me that teaching is not just about transferring knowledge, but about building trust and meaningful relationships that empower learners. Very good. Thank you so much. So I see that many of you are referring to like emotions, how students feel, how important is to think about our students are the human beings, right? We are working with humans, and they feel as I read here, they feel sad, they feel depressed sometimes. And so we need to understand that, right? And it's really important for us to do that. Good, very good. So there is no one video here. There is a video here. Let's check this video. I'm going to share just one more. Let me share my with the sound. Yeah, it's with sound here. And let's check this video here. And then we continue. Thank you. Thank you so much. Very good. Classroom animation, important aspect that we need to consider. Very good. So thank you for your reflections. Excellent. And your participation. You can continue writing or sending videos. We will be checking them. Thank you so much. And so let's continue, please. Yes, Jessica, I think. Hello. Yes. Yeah. Jessica, I think it's true. So today we have a guest, right?
Okay, so next we are honored to welcome a fellow educator, Professor Héctor Fabio Álvarez, who will share their personal story from the classroom, an innovative and meaningful experience that made a difference. This testimony is a reminder that a real learning happens when we take risks, try new things, and reflect on the outcomes. This experience is going to be led in English, in Spanish. ¿Ok? Bienvenido, profesor Héctor Fabio, a este encuentro de Ágora. Muchísimas gracias por aceptar la invitación y bienvenido entonces para que nos comparta su maravillosa experiencia.
Muy buenas tardes. Bueno. Muy bien, muy buenas tardes para todos. La experiencia STEAM para fortalecer talentos. Mi nombre es Héctor Fabio Álvarez Loaiza, licenciado en Matemática y Física y especializado en Educación Personalizada. Todo este tema de la investigación ha tenido un trasfondo que tiene que ver con la metodología que cada institución escoge para poder transmitir, realizar sus labores y transmitir sus conocimientos. La metodología que empleamos en nuestra institución es una metodología dialogante y el enfoque con el que trabajamos se denomina enfoque STEAM. Naturalmente, pues estas palabras que conforman el STEAM, ciencia, tecnología, ingeniería, matemática y arte. Aunque actualmente también se está hablando mucho del STEAM para anexarle también las lenguas y otros elementos para poder hacer algo más integral. La investigación. Bueno, desde hace mucho tiempo, ustedes lo saben muy bien con Descartes, se habla del método científico como para darle una organización al conocimiento y para poderlo hacerlo sistemáticamente y poder partir de un problema, darle la solución y poder llegar a dar una respuesta que puede ser positiva o negativa, pero que a la final, después de haber realizado todo el recorrido, podamos llegar a un aprendizaje basado en problemas. Aunque pues el aprendizaje basado en problemas siempre va a llevar un tiempo para poder cumplir con todos los pasos que requiere el método científico. Investigaciones. Las investigaciones que hemos realizado desde hace 15 años, venimos trabajando en investigación. Tenemos un el KIPSA, Kit Portable Solar Amigable. Fue un prototipo realizado para mitigar los problemas del campo y de las personas que podían hacer investigación en el campo y que no tenían ni las comunicaciones, ni tenían los elementos necesarios para poder llevar adelante algunas investigaciones. Luego tenemos una segunda investigación que terminó en un prototipo que se llama EAPSA, Estación Ambiental Potencia Piodosina, que esta estación lo que hacía era, después de recorrer el terreno, pasaba todo a internet y hacía el mapa y analizaba el aire, la tierra y el agua. Y fuera de eso se comunicaba con otras personas relacionadas con el tema para poder dar solución a problemáticas que presentaban. Una tercera investigación fue la interfaz controlada por impulsos nerviosos para personas con parálisis. Solo giniendo el ojo, bueno, en fin, podíamos hacer operaciones y cosas en la casa de esa persona que estaba sentado exclusivamente en una silla y que no podía mover ni sus brazos ni ninguna parte de su cuerpo. Una cuarta investigación fue ventanitas de salamina, un visor para invidentes que en este momento va en su tercera etapa. Una quinta, energía solar fuente de vida, paneles solares con materiales reciclables. Y una última investigación fue control fotovoltaico para automatizar máquinas agroindustriales y poderle dar la mano así a las personas del campo. Bueno, los proyectos. Hay un aula STEAM, implementación de esta aula para integrar ciencia, tecnología, ingeniería, matemática y arte, para transversalizar los diferentes conocimientos en forma integradora, desarrollando habilidades, competencias y aptitudes. Bueno, ahí vemos en la diapositiva premios de investigación, reconocimientos que se han recibido a nivel municipal, regional, nacional, en el programa Ondas e internacional, con participación en Japón, Fortaleza, Brasil, además en Chile y en Perú. Aquí tenemos un aprendizaje basado en proyectos y esta se llama la Estación Ambiental Potencia Piodocino. Es una maletica, como les decía anteriormente, que da una información a medida que usted va pasando por el medio dando una información, y con esta investigación se obtuvo reconocimiento de premio a nivel municipal, regional y nacional del programa Ondas. Este también fue un aprendizaje basado en proyectos, es la interfaz. Fue muy bien tomada a nivel internacional porque pues igual ayuda pues a resolver una problemática que se presenta en el medio. Aquí tenemos otro aprendizaje basado en proyectos que se llama Ventanitas de Salamina. Salamina es el sitio donde yo vivo actualmente, Salamina Caldas, y que va a celebrar el bicentenario. Aquí estuvo Hernando Cardona, vivió Hernando Cardona, que fue un científico que operó a una persona y le implantó la córnea plástica y pudo poner a ver a un invidente, y esa fue pues una noticia a nivel internacional muy importante para solucionar una problemática que cada vez se afecta mucho el entorno. Esta investigación se obtuvo reconocimiento y premio a nivel municipal, regional y nacional del programa Ondas e internacional. En Chile, con la participación de 33 países, se ocupó el primer puesto y el reconocimiento también en Perú. Aquí tenemos Ventanitas de Salamina, hablamos del mismo proyecto. Se integran muchas teorías y se trabajan con muchos elementos para poder obtener frecuencias que estimulen el ojo humano y que así se pueda entonces hacer una interconexión entre lo exterior y lo interior, que era esta problemática que presenta para muchas personas que se funcione bien el ojo humano. Participaciones municipales, subregionales y regionales. El equipo Potencia Piodocina, pues es un equipo conformado por jóvenes y yo soy el coinvestigador. Somos investigadores el equipo, de ahí se selecciona un grupo y en el año 2021 y 2022, con el proyecto Ventanitas de Salamina, ha ganado los concursos de ondas y en el 2022 elegido para representar a Caldas en el concurso regional. Estos estudiantes del colegio comenzaron esa formación en el grado octavo y a partir de ahí comenzamos a trabajar todos los elementos de la investigación y ellos son los expositores tanto a nivel municipal, internacional y en todo lo que se ha obtenido por encima de 8.500 investigaciones. Logramos hacer pues estas participaciones y quedar representando a Colombia en estos eventos. Aquí tenemos desde Chile. El equipo de Potencia Piodocina en el año 2021 participó de manera habitual en el evento internacional Expo Ciencia Nacional Chile, un evento con proyectos de investigación en las áreas científicas, tecnológicas y humanas a nivel regional, nacional e internacional, fortaleciendo el aprendizaje multidisciplinar, integral e incluso de niñas de niñas, niños y jóvenes. Participación integrada en Exposición Nacional Chile 2021. El equipo Potencia Producina obtuvo el primer puesto en la categoría internacional. Bueno, ahí se observa la medalla, el proyecto Ventanitas de Salamina, autores Laura Sofía Sila, Juan Fernando Franco, fueron los dos expositores, el coinvestigador Héctor Fabio Álvarez, de la institución educativa Pío XII de Salamina, Caldas, Colombia. Ahí está la participación en Perú, en Cientec, en noviembre de 2022. Ahí están los dos jóvenes también participando. Pues aquí siempre ha sido con los niños y los jóvenes. A ellos dos, los que están en pantalla, se comenzaron a hacer investigación desde el grado séptimo. Y ya cuando llegaron al grado 10 y 11 comenzaron a hacer sus presentaciones a nivel internacional. Bueno, en las participaciones internacionales, aquí observamos la participación en Perú. Bueno, aquí está la ceremonia, todos los que participaron, el stand, los jóvenes que participaron. Aquí hay uno con energía solar, este es los paneles solares realizados con materiales reciclables. Es un aprendizaje basado en proyectos. Cada investigación de esta se llevó más o menos año y medio, entre año y medio, para poder llegar a una respuesta realmente acertada y que dé una solución a una problemática de la comunidad. Aquí tenemos el control fotovoltaico para automatizar máquinas agroindustriales. Ahí se observan los jóvenes trabajando en el proyecto y esto se hace desde un área que se llama centro de interés. Bueno, los aprendizajes basados en lecciones, pero resulta que el aprendizaje basado en proyectos es muy estricto y siempre sigue todos los pasos del método científico. Pero el aprendizaje basado en lecciones es una opción que nos dan para poder realizar un aprendizaje a más corto tiempo. Pues que usted sabe que un aprendizaje basado en proyectos se puede llevar 1, 2, 3 años y más, mientras que un aprendizaje basado en lecciones puede llevar mucha parte del método científico y nos ayuda mucho a dejar un conocimiento bien arraigado en la mente de los estudiantes. Entonces ahí está pregunta esencial, hay un objetivo de aprendizaje, hay un conocimiento previo, hay nuevos conceptos fundamentales, hay unas ayudas educativas, hay unos aspectos de STEM involucrados, hay unos resultados y por último se hace una evaluación diagnóstica, hay autoevaluación, coevaluación que puede terminar siendo sumativa. Bueno, aquí están los estudiantes trabajando con proyectos relacionados con aprendizaje basado en lecciones. Están empleando la ingeniería y están empleando la juguetería, la gamificación y el diseño. Ellos desde el aula y ellos no trabajan con pupitres uno detrás del otro, sino que ellos trabajan en mesas de trabajo en un trabajo cooperativo. Aquí tenemos entonces la gamificación, que es especial para hacer la retroalimentación. Ahí podemos ver los diferentes programas que se emplearon para poderlos evaluar y para poder recrear el conocimiento. Aquí tenemos un aula STEAM. El aula STEAM, desde allí se trabaja. Ellos emplean hasta el suelo, las mesas. El aula no es rígida, es un aula que da muchas oportunidades de aprendizaje. También se trabaja mucho en habilidades digitales. Ahí en la pantalla estoy con un niño, él es mi hijo, y que también estudia en la institución y él también trabaja en programación. Y mientras que se hacía la exposición, él realizaba una presentación del evento que estábamos presentando y lo presentó a toda la comunidad cuando él terminó. Lecciones aprendidas. La metodología STEM brinda la oportunidad a los jóvenes a procesar sus pensamientos, sentimientos, trabajo en equipo, desarrollo de competencias, estimulación de la curiosidad, imaginación, creatividad e innovación, adaptabilidad, pensamiento sistémico, autogestión y autodesarrollo, solución de problemas, comunicación y habilidades sociales. Cuando la ciencia y la tecnología, la técnica y la innovación convergen, se generan nuevos conocimientos, emprendimientos y unidades de negocio como resultado del trabajo planificado, ordenado y orientado a resolver problemáticas sociales que aquejan a la comunidad. Resultados obtenidos. Los alumnos estimulan la creatividad y la imaginación, adquieren más responsabilidad, muestran deseos de aprender, mejoran la disciplina, son autónomos en el aprendizaje, integran áreas del conocimiento para resolver problemas propuestos, aprenden de forma más duradera y eficaz y emplean tecnología. STEAM. Una persona formada con metodología STEAM es aquella que tiene el conocimiento suficiente y las habilidades para participar y progresar en la sociedad moderna, segura de sí misma y con la capacidad para usar, manipular y evaluar tecnologías presentes en la vida cotidiana, así como la capacidad de entender los principios científicos y los procesos tecnológicos necesarios para resolver problemas desarrollar discusiones y tomar decisiones. Es muy importante, pues, que los docentes realicemos investigación. A nosotros nos han dicho que la investigación es muy costosa, pero nosotros aquí con recursos del medio hemos logrado llegar, pasar la frontera y las participaciones que se han hecho internacionales, nos damos cuenta que los estudiantes colombianos a veces no tienen nada que envidiarle a estudiantes de países desarrollados, porque en las participaciones de Japón, la participación en Brasil, en Chile, nos ha mostrado la gran calidad que tienen nuestros estudiantes y la gran creatividad. De tal manera que yo invito a todos los profesores a que nos metamos en la investigación que se puede desarrollar, la importancia que tiene para el estudiante, que es generar sus propios conocimientos, hacer cosas nuevas que no están escritas en ningún lado, porque cuando nosotros nos tomaron todas las investigaciones, pues las consultaron en internet y nada de esto estaba escrito allí, y esto hace que nosotros podamos resolver problemáticas de la comunidad, y eso hace sentir al estudiante muy complacido y deseoso de estudiar y realizar más investigación. Muchas gracias.
Profesor Héctor, muchísimas gracias por su intervención. Tenemos un par de preguntas, dada el interés de nuestros estudiantes y docentes en formación frente a su proceso, de cómo ha sido la involucración de la investigación en el aula. Entonces nos preguntan primero cómo ha sido la planeación de las actividades para la participación de los estudiantes en estos procesos de investigación. Para algunos, digamos, como usted decía, la investigación es un poco compleja y la vemos como un ejercicio aislado que solamente se da en un laboratorio, o digamos que no es pertinente o que no es apropiado o que es muy complejo llevarlo al aula, pero usted a través de estas experiencias y de estos proyectos y la posibilidad de participar en eventos incluso internacionales y tener reconocimientos y premiaciones, pues nos ha mostrado que sí es posible. Entonces nos gustaría saber usted cómo desde ese ejercicio docente involucra la investigación y motiva a sus estudiantes a participar, y con qué grados usted trabaja.
Bueno, yo trabajo con grados 8, 9, 10 y 11. Realmente para uno es un reto poder decir que vamos a hacer un trabajo en investigación. Y generalmente nosotros somos muy aferrados a los libros, a una metodología antigua, pues, de un expositor, y los libros allá quietecitos, bueno, y el pensamiento de pronto no lo ponemos a volar, y la creatividad. Entonces, aquí es donde viene como la parte importante. En este momento yo estoy terminando de escribir un texto que se llama Las misiones. Resulta que en la misión es coger todo el método científico y recrearlo. ¿Cómo se recrea? Por ejemplo, la primera misión, conocernos. ¿Y para qué nos vamos a conocer? A través de un cuestionario de unas 20 preguntas, donde usted le va a preguntar al estudiante qué le gusta comer, qué música le gusta escuchar, qué película. Y ahí entre esas preguntas colocarle una. ¿Usted hace alguna actividad industrial? ¿Usted ha participado de algún aprendizaje, de algo que usted sepa? Por ejemplo, resultaron que unos muchachos trabajaban con motores, sabían más que uno. Trabajaban con motores, otros trabajaban con electricidad, otros trabajaban haciendo películas. Entonces, ese primer diagnóstico era mirar las aptitudes del estudiante para poderlo reunir en la mesa de trabajo cooperativo y poder tener uno que le gustaba escribir, al otro que le gustaba hacer el video, al otro que tenía inclinaciones por la electricidad, otro por la electrónica, y así sucesivamente se conformaba entonces un grupo interdisciplinar que lo que hacía era llegar a un equipo cooperativo y a partir de ahí comenzar a formular todo lo que es con otra misión. Otra misión es buscar problemas y luego mirar a ver cómo le vamos a dar la solución a ese problema, partiendo de los hechos relevantes, el planteamiento del problema. Esa es la parte fundamental y de ahí en adelante llegar con un objetivo general que es el mismo problema, unos objetivos específicos que es lo que vamos a trabajar y luego llegar a un marco teórico para averiguar qué cosas hay en Internet y en otros medios relacionados con el tema, luego un marco teórico, luego hacer la hipótesis bien sencilla con un antecedente y un consecuente, elegir la variable, hacer el trabajo estadístico para luego, a través de una hipótesis, lograr llegar a comprobarla y poder dar una respuesta a la problemática que tenemos. Entonces todo ha sido como un juego, se ha trabajado mucho la gamificación y el estudiante jugando, se metió en investigación y hoy por hoy están en universidades como la Nacional de Manizales, la de Manizales y otras universidades, y ellos son los que dirigen toda la parte de investigación. Ha sido una cosa muy interesante. Ese libro de las misiones es muy bonito porque en una forma recreativa nos mete en el mundo de la investigación.
Maravilloso, muchísimas gracias. Tenemos otra pregunta. Dice, ¿de dónde surgió la idea de integrar materiales reciclables en la educación STEAM y cuál fue la necesidad o problema inicial que inspiró este enfoque?
Bueno, este enfoque STEAM viene desde hace mucho tiempo en países desarrollados funcionando. Y lo que sucede es que integrar ciencia, ingeniería, tecnología, el arte, pues y la matemática, hace del estudiante un estudiante más integral, porque no se limita a una sola cuestión, sino que integra todas esas áreas del conocimiento y lo que hace es que la clase cambie totalmente. O sea que la clase se convierte en un laboratorio, en el laboratorio natural. Y no solamente la clase, el campo, en cualquier lado se está realizando la investigación. Entonces, esos laboratorios, digo yo, naturales, hacen que la investigación recobre interés de temas tan álgidos y tan complejos y llegar a que los estudiantes se lleguen a comportarse como escritores, como personas empleando la estadística, empleando las hipótesis y poder llegar a resolver una problemática de su entorno. Y eso ha hecho que haya una gran satisfacción, tanto personal como de los estudiantes. Pues esa idea siempre ocurrió por el asunto de que nosotros los profesores a veces somos muy estáticos en el conocimiento y pasamos del cuaderno o del libro, del libro lo pasamos al cuaderno y lo pasamos del libro, lo pasamos al cuaderno y eso hace que de pronto el estudiante a la postre pierda el interés. Mire que hoy por hoy los estudiantes son muy aferrados al asunto del celular, pero son tan aferrados al celular que ellos tratan de buscar como una cosa diferente. A nosotros nos parece muy complicado que un estudiante use el celular. Yo, por ejemplo, dejo usar el celular, pero para lo que estamos trabajando, o sea, en comunes acuerdos. Esos comunes acuerdos hacen que nos ayudemos. Y entonces ya ahora la investigación le estamos metiendo la inteligencia artificial, le estamos metiendo la gamificación, le estamos introduciendo otros elementos. Nada menos mi hijo había llegado con el tema de la célula y él llegó y la hizo en plastilina. Y como él es programador, entonces yo le dije, oye, ¿y usted por qué no me aplica lo de la inteligencia artificial a ver cómo es el cuento? Me dijo, se la voy a hacer. Y al ratico apareció con la célula en inteligencia artificial, con las plantillas y todo eso, y empezó a hacer una demostración que yo dije, al alumno hay que darle la oportunidad, hay que explorar esos otros campos. A nosotros a veces nos da mucha dificultad romper ese paradigma, pero hay que hacerlo para poder tener jóvenes más creativos, más competentes y que puedan salir adelante y resolver las problemáticas de esta sociedad.
Excelente esas apreciaciones. Una última pregunta que nos hacen es ¿cómo ha fortalecido la investigación o el hecho de ser un investigador a su perfil docente?
Bueno, pues mi perfil docente empieza con una metodología tradicional y me doy cuenta que con esa metodología los estudiantes avanzaban, pero no tanto, hasta que me doy cuenta que hay que ir más allá, que hay que generar otros espacios, porque en el espacio de la investigación el estudiante se siente muy libre para opinar, para escribir, para hacer otros detalles. Entonces, a partir de ese momento, comenzamos a buscar ese método científico que nos ayude a tener nuestros propios conocimientos, porque cuando se habla de ciencia, naturalmente decir ciencia es creación de conocimiento. Y muchas veces dice ciencias sociales, ciencias naturales, y va uno a ver las ciencias naturales y no tiene nada de investigación. O sea, todo es pasado de un libro al cuaderno, pero no hay nada creativo, no hay nada que se haga a través de la investigación y diga, estos son nuestros propios conocimientos. Yo tuve una experiencia con un centro de interés, y era que yo dije, a partir de la investigación vamos a empezar a dar clase. Entonces, cogimos varios temas, entre ellos cogimos que el problema, entonces los temas eran energía solar, las energías, y comenzamos a hablar de energías, hasta que en la energía eólica, que la energía atómica, hasta que llegamos a energía solar. Entonces dijimos, la energía solar tiene unos apartes muy importantes, y es que mantiene puro el medio ambiente. Es una energía que nos pertenece a todos. Entonces elegimos energía solar. Y a partir de la energía solar transversalizamos todos los temas. O sea, transversalizamos circuitos eléctricos, transversalizamos la tabla periódica para poder buscar allí los materiales que eran esos materiales que nos podían servir para hacer una fotocelda, y comenzamos a armar la fotocelda. Entonces, el silicio, el germanio, que lo íbamos a encontrar en los rectificadores, en los circuitos integrados y en los transistores, que son los que botan a la basura. Nosotros lo que hicimos fue pulirlos y ponerlos al sol y comprobar que nos daba energía. Y pudimos hacer los paneles solares y seguimos transversalizando, escribiendo sobre la energía solar, la importancia de la energía solar. Comenzamos a hablar de cálculos para electricidad, proyectos electrónicos, circuitos electrónicos para mejorar esto. Entonces, como desde una área se logró transversalizar todos los temas que tenía que ver con la física del grado 9.
Excelente. Entonces, definitivamente creo que podemos concluir que es importante involucrar unas metodologías activas en el aula que siempre partan del interés del estudiante, que siempre partan de las necesidades del entorno, del territorio específico, porque como usted nos comenta, la institución educativa es un colegio público que está ubicado en el municipio de Salamina, Caldas, y que pues obviamente sus necesidades y sus particularidades serán muy distintas a las de cualquier otra institución a lo largo del país. Entonces, definitivamente nuestras conclusiones para este ejercicio y de su experiencia podemos decir que es importante primero pues involucrar a la comunidad, no solamente los estudiantes, sino padres de familia, administrativos y demás, que se involucren en el proyecto, que el docente que imparte el área esté, digamos, también muy interesado en tener una participación, digamos, en un rol no dominante, sino hacer que el estudiante sea el que tenga ese rol participativo y nosotros como docentes ser orientadores. Bueno, muchísimas gracias al profesor Héctor Fabio por contarnos su experiencia. Por aquí tenemos muchos comentarios de agradecimiento por su intervención. Marcela Soto nos dice, muy de acuerdo con el docente, se ve que ya entendió mucho de la importancia de evolucionar y responder a las necesidades actuales de los estudiantes. Stephanie Giraldo también nos dice, de las cosas más bonitas es ver profes que siguen actualizando su conocimiento. Muchos se quedan en las mismas enseñanzas para siempre, pero este docente es muy inspirador. También nos dice por aquí el Bayanín, pese a que la investigación educativa nos lleva a desentramar los factores educativos que están influyendo en el aprendizaje de nuestros estudiantes. Y por último, Janet Vanegas nos dice, felicitaciones al docente, qué bueno escuchar cómo aprovechan el potencial y los intereses de los estudiantes. Entonces, maestro, muchísimas gracias por aceptar esta invitación, por compartirnos sus experiencias, por motivar a nuestros estudiantes de la licenciatura en inglés, que en este momento son docentes en formación, pero que aunque usted nos comparte una experiencia de un área completamente diferente a la nuestra, de todos modos muestra cómo el docente innovador e inspirador también fortalece los procesos en las aulas y cómo hacemos realmente un cambio en los procesos de enseñanza. Muchísimas gracias, maestro, por compartir esta experiencia con nosotros.
Con mucho gusto y que sigan adelante en esa labor tan bonita que es la educación.
Muchísimas gracias.
Okay, thank you, Professor Jessica Garcia, and our invited teacher to share such a meaningful experience with all of our students from Licenciatura en Lenguas Extranjeras con énfasis en inglés. Okay, now, dear students, it's time to know the product, the outcome of your teaching practice during this term. So we are about to start our poster walk. In this poster walk, dear students, one of you from each one of our immersion and research practice courses will present the gamification resource or the educational resource or the research poster that you developed throughout this term. So we are going to have like two blocks. The first one It's going to be for immersion courses. Let's remember our immersion courses are teaching English to children, adolescents, and adults, teacher development, technology in foreign language teaching, and integral pedagogical practice. So one student from these courses will present their resource or their gamification tool or their research poster. So we now invite you to walk through this poster exhibition and this resources exhibition. And from this, during this walk, well, you will find these categories: digital educational resources created during immersion courses, especially related to La Vinnova, and the research projects developed through the exploration and inquiry. So, dear students, as you move through the posters, talk to the authors, ask about their process, what challenges they faced, and what inspired them. Remember that this space is designed to promote exchange and collaboration, and feel free to take your time, discuss and reflect. So as our students will be presenting, you can in the chat type a question for each one of them. Our students will have 10 minutes for their presentation. And after their presentation, immediately you can, or we will try to ask them the questions that you might have to them. The resources and students who will be presenting in this first block are the following. For the course Teaching English to Children, Adolescents, and Adults, a gamification resource called Be or Not to Be by the students Liz Carolay Palomino and Jesus David Perez. They will be in the first place. Second, Teacher Development, a Meaningful Experience, Catch the Ball, Catch Their Hearts by Melissa Ospina. Then from the course Technology in Foreign Language Teaching, also a gamification resource called Daily Routines in Action by Ingrid Yajaira Velareso, excuse me. And from the course Integral Pedagogical Practice, the educational resource called The Verb to Be Challenge by the students Natalia Dusan Tovar and Daisy Natalia Cordova. When we finish this block, you will be able to vote. We will provide a link here for you to vote to choose the best resource according to your perceptions and according to your interests and also all the aspects that you want to keep in mind, okay, when watching these presentations. So, well, let's start right away with our students from the course Teaching English to Children, Adolescents, and Adults, students Liz Carolay Palomino and Jesus Daniel Perez. Dear students, remember that you will have 10 minutes to present. When we are over the 8 or 9 minutes, I might interrupt you to tell you that time is almost over, okay? So please keep in mind the time management. And at the end of your presentation, we will ask you some questions. Remember, anyway, to keep in mind, dear students, these questions. What are the key features of the resource and how is it used in the classroom? And for gamification, how is the game structured and how does it enhance student learning? So after your presentation, we might go over these questions anyway. So I guess our first students from the course Teaching English to Children, Adolescents, and Adults are ready. So please, Liz and Jesus, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Can you see the screen well?
Yes, we.
So, this is the gamified resource that my group and I create for this group. My group was made up for Liz Palomino, Luana Charri, Julio Martinez, and me, Jesus. But today, Liz and I are going to present this gamified resource. So, let's start. We are really happy to be here today to share with you something that my group and I created and work on with a lot of dedication and creativity of gamified resource is called Be or Not to Be, as you can see. And it's basically a learning journey through grammar, but in a way that feels more like a game than a class. So the title we chose is The Venture of To Be, an epic journey through the grammar universe. The problem to solve is that many 6th and 7th grade students have problem using the verb to be in English, which affect their confidence and interest in learning. This resource seeks to change that in a fun and meaningful way. So we create this thinking about students, as I said it before, from 6th and 7th grade, who usually find grammar, especially the verb to be, a bit confusing or boring. When we thought about how to solve that, we realized that young students learn best when they are active, when they feel part of something, when there is a story or challenge behind it. So, what is the purpose of the resource? Is to help a student learn the verb to be affirmative, negative, interrogative forms through games, challenges, stories, and obviously rewards. For me personally, what I love about this resource is that it combines fun and structure. It's not just playing. Every step is meaningful. First, they get the basics with affirmative structures. Then they build on that with negative sentences, and finally they reach interrogative. The progression really helps them feel that they mastering something. What is the learning strategy? So this resource is based on a gamified and constructive strategy designed especially for 6th and 7th grade students who enjoy learning by playing, exploring, and solving challenges. How does it work? It works by learn by doing. Students discover the use of the verb to be by solving challenges and advancing through magical words. By working in pairs or groups, they support each other. And I think that's powerful because grammar stops being something individual and stressful, it becomes something social and enjoyable. Another one is stepped learning. Each level builds on the previous one. First, it is affirmed, then it's denied, and at the end, it is asked. Let's move on to narrative learning. The adventure in Guide by Letza, who assigned the mission in each kingdom, affirmative, negative, and interrogative. And cooperative learning, some challenges allow you to play as a couple or in a group, ensuring collaboration. So now my classmate list is going to tell you about each kingdom and explain a little bit of what it is about. So please go ahead, please.
Hello, tutors and classmate. My name is Liz Carolai Palomino Paternina. Sorry about my camera. I am having trouble getting it to connect to Sim, so sorry. Well, it's a pleasure for me to be here today. I want to introduce you our gamified resource called Be or Not to Be. Well, first, this project was created for 6th and 7th grade students who struggle to use the verb to be correctly, and how my partner said most of them find them grammar boring or confusing, which affects their confidence in class. So what if grammar became an adventure? It was my first touch to create this resource. And this gave freeze to Be or Not to Be as a history-based resource that transforms grammar into a magical mission. The game takes place in a world called Grammariel and is divided into 3 kingdoms. The first kingdom is Affirmalandia, affirmative form, where students learn how to say who they are. Second, Negatonia, what would be negative form, where students learn how to say what they are not. Third, Interrogaria, like an interrogative form, where learners practice asking questions. So all of this happens with guidance of a magical character that is Lexa, the language guardian. Each world, students complete interactive challenge like sentence building, correcting errors, and mark the correct answer. And at the end of the game, they enter the temple of the sacred verb, where they prove what they have learned and receive a grammar mastery medal and certified. And obviously, this resource is designed for A1 level students, especially those who need a more visual and interactive approach. Yeah. However, this is designed to be adapted to other levels and ages. And of course, it supports both classroom and independent learning. Students not only practice grammar, but feel empowered to use it with confidence, I think so. Jesus, next, please. Now, I would like to give you a brief tour of the resource through some images that were part of the gamification creation process. As you may have noticed, the resource is very, very visual, and the challenge per level within each kingdom are all sound out in the simple present, since it will be the verbal tense according to the common framework of language references. And yeah, here the challenge are sequential and samples. They are not at an extreme level, but they are difficult enough so that the students don't get bored because they are easy. So this has been our brief tour of a resource. I hope you have been understanding and have liked our resource. Thank you so much for the space.
To continue, I would like to tell you pedagogical objectives. So through this gamified experience, students are expected to understand and use the verb to be correctly in all three forms: negative, negative, affirmative, and interrogative. Apply grammar in real context, such as identity, mood, or questions. Recognize and correct common errors, and demonstrate understanding through oral and writing performance. So if it's possible,
Okay, thank you, Liz and Jesus, for your presentation. And okay, one question from the audience, as you explained at the end, Jesus, well, your learning objective with the resource, and a question from the audience is: did your students reach during your practicum? Did the students reach the learning goal you set by applying this gamification resource?
I think that they actually have fun, not only have fun, but also learn a lot. So I think that all of these objectives were applied, were, I don't know, yes, because they not only have fun, but also learn a lot with this gamified resource. And I think it was possible to.
Okay. Okay, so you think, you guess that they could accomplish the objective or the purpose for the creation of this interesting resource. Did you include any specific features? Can you, I don't know, define or describe specific features that you include in your resource to make it engaging, obviously, to make it engaging and appropriate for your target learners?
There are different activities like where they explore different real contexts. They explore different contexts. They explore different activities that allows them to reach the purpose of the activity. So I think so.
Okay, Jesus and Liz, once again, thank you for sharing your gamification resource with us today. I guess all of our students here present can get some ideas, can get inspiration regarding this resource that you could apply during your practicum. Well, now let's move to the next course. So we are going to have now Melissa Ospina from the course Teacher Development with a meaningful experience called Catch the Ball, Catch Their Hearts. So, Melissa, remember that you will have 10 minutes to present your meaningful experience. And after that, remember the questions, well, that we are considering, and probably a question from the audience as well. So, Melissa, you can start.
Thank you very much. I'm going to share my screen right away. Okay. All right. So hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here in this space. I'm very excited to share my meaningful teaching experience with all of you. As it was mentioned, it's called Catch the Ball, Catch Their Hearts. So later on, you'll understand why I chose this name. Okay. So I'll start off by mentioning a little bit about the setting where I was at. I was in this public school and located in Dos Quebradas, where I live. It's called Institución Educativa Santa Isabel. I was working with sixth graders. There were about 35 or 36 students. The thing is that it fluctuated a bit because some students would drop out. I would see new faces from like 3 to 4 days. And that's because they all had different environments at home. There were some situations in school as well. I believe that the majority of us that have been doing our practicum have experienced these situations with students. So other than that, even though it was a sixth grade course, the ages would vary a lot. I would see students that had 11 to 16 years old, and that's because a lot of those students were repeating the grade for a second, a third, even a fourth time, or even more. Well, I had lots of students with certain, let's say, specific needs, but since we don't have much time, I'm going to talk about one particular student. It turns out that there was a student that was autistic in the classroom. I didn't know he was autistic the first day that I went to introduce myself. So I started off by asking their names and a food that they liked to do something a little bit different. And then when I came up to this particular student, he immediately covered his face like this, and he answered the question. He said his name, and he also said the food that he liked. And I noticed that he covered his face, but I thought to myself, and maybe he was just shy. And since it was the first time I was there in the classroom. Later on, the teacher, their teacher, told me a little bit about the students. And this particular student, well, she mentioned that he was autistic and that he was coming from a private school. So this private school, they would cover like his basic needs, and they had a lot of support and help. But unfortunately, due to financial constraints, they had to leave this private school, and that's why he was in the public school. It was very difficult for him at first. So why am I mentioning this? Because I'm pretty much like connecting it to how this context, not just because he's autistic, but also because there are students that have different needs and different ways of learning. I saw it reflected a bit in Vygotsky's sociocultural theory on how he would emphasize like the influence of social and also cultural factors while they're learning. Other than that, I had to constantly adapt. Me as a teacher, I had to constantly adapt into what the students already knew, like their zones of proximal development, which is what we learned with Vygotsky, and how to connect what they already know, even though it's completely different in that group, to what I'm about to teach them, so that they would have like a guidance that would probably allow them to build knowledge, and it would be like in an individual way or in a collaborative way. All right. So now moving on. I like to mention a little bit about the schema of building, how I would activate prior knowledge, make a little bit more emphasis on why I chose the name of the meaningful teaching experience. Sometimes we don't know, or sometimes it's difficult to find creativity, because we want to be able to have students that are interested in learning, that that want to be in the class. But we're going to encounter students that don't want to be in the class. I had a specific student as well that, let's say I would copy something on the board and she would say, I'm not going to copy that because I don't understand English. Why am I going to copy it? So a lot of attitude there. So I try to think of ways that I can make it a little fun. So emphasis on why the whole catch the ball. The first time when we introduced ourselves, I told them I'm going to choose a student and I'm going to throw this ball. So like make it exciting for them. I thought it would be important to make the exciting an exciting game. So even though it's something that we all know or maybe something a little bit too childish, just make it fun for them, make it like it's super cool. So I would choose them and they were all engaged. They were engaged and they would catch the ball. This also helped a lot with respect because they would notice that, so since this student has the ball right now, I can't talk right now. They would forget at times because they would get excited and want to be the one with the ball. But you just have to like keep it moving. Other than that, I always try to take them outside. I learned that unfortunately, due to time, due to different concepts and perspectives of the teachers, the students most of the time were always sitting in 5 lines. Every time I went to the classroom, 5 lines. Completely respectful, but I believe that if we change things up a bit, it can be a little bit disorganized, maybe at the beginning, but if you change it a little, that's going to make a huge difference for them, even if it's just taking them outside for a couple of seconds, for some minutes. Look at the sky, how's the weather today? And as long as you're following whatever you are teaching them, it's important that you're changing them. Well, I recommend that because I saw it in the practicum. Other than that, I also noticed that it was important to have students work individually and other times have them in groups or in pairs. This worked a lot with the student that I mentioned at the beginning that is autistic because sometimes he would want to work on his own, but other times I would use groups and he would participate as well. And that was a great accomplishment because even though he felt a bit shy, he was still working with other students. So that's the idea, to get all students to participate also with one another, doing speaking activities, review-based games. The important thing is that they also see you as a very like energetic person as well. So I connected this a bit with Anderson and Pearson's strategy because they have like the theory, the schema theory, where it focuses a little bit on activating the whole mental framework. So once again, connecting that new knowledge that you're teaching them to what they already know. And also, once again, Vygotsky, because there's a lot of emphasis there on social interaction in learning with peer activities, with group work, not only individually. Okay, next up we have how did I introduce vocabulary presentation? Luckily, the teacher that they had that I was working with, she was always ready to share ideas with me. So we collaborated with one another very nicely. And something I believe is so important when it comes to language teaching is TPR, total physical response. I know that this may be a bit more common with kids, but it's hands gestures, it's facial gestures, as well as using your body. So when it comes to students that are older, for example, the group I was in, which was 6th grade, it's also very meaningful and helpful So I have a little, some examples here. For instance, you put your hand behind your ear. That means you want your student to say something because you asked the question. Look doesn't necessarily have to be the way she's doing it. You can just point to your eyes, look at my mouth, point to your mouth. This is very important as well. I am a true believer that if you are going to teach English in a school, you can speak in English throughout the whole lesson. There may be moments like, let's say, behavioral issues, situations that might come out of your hands, that where you might have to switch to Spanish, to their first language. But when it comes to teaching, you can speak in English throughout the whole time. It may seem a bit overwhelming at the beginning for them, but if you are constant and you are repeating a lot the same sentence structures, the same using the same TPR, for example, they will eventually get it. They will eventually get it, and it's a great way for them to learn. Once again, at first it can be so overwhelming for them, but I do encourage my classmates that are in the same process as me to continue whenever you're going to teach or whenever you're going to go to the practicum setting, to speak in English, the majority at least the majority of the lesson, and use constant sentence structures, constant words, use flashcards, use your whole body. I mean, sometimes we won't have technological resources, let's say the TV, the computer, and we don't want our students to always be sitting on their desk and writing on a worksheet or on their notebook, copying something from the board. So use yourself as well. And the students as well, they like that. I had several students that were always so energetic and wanted to participate the whole time. So take advantage of those students when they're acting this way. Take them up to the board so that they can demonstrate the example of whatever you are teaching. Let's say, for example, you're trying to have a conversation of greetings. That's something that we did in the practicum. A greeting, copy on the board the sentence structure so that they know how to do it. And then with the whole practicing with the teacher or with the other classmates, they will eventually get it. And it's really nice. It's a great way for them to learn because there's a lot of consistency there. I connected this a bit with Krashen's input hypothesis because he supported the need for like comprehensible input. And I feel like when you deliver it through gestures and visuals, you're definitely considering this input hypothesis. And also, as I mentioned, TPR, total physical response. It's a great way not only for young students to learn, but everyone. All right. Moving on to a grammar presentation and guided practice. These are just...
Melissa, time is
Yes.
over.
Oh no. Okay. All right. Then I'm just going to say the last quote. Every child you pass in the hall has a story that needs to be heard. Maybe you are the one meant to hear it. By Bethany Hill. Thank you very much.
Okay. Melissa, no, thank you. Thank you to you for sharing this meaningful experience. And of course, people in the audience are also happy to listen to your accent, your pronunciation, and all that. So also congratulations about your English level. A question, Melissa, from the audience would be, would it be possible like to try to apply this in virtual environments? So how does the use of TPR and real life context strategies, as shown in the vocabulary presentation, enhances language acquisition and student engagement, but in virtual learning environments? What do you think?
Yes, definitely. When it comes to virtual language environments, you can apply the same strategy as well, especially when it comes to TPR. As long as, once again, you're showing yourself as an energetic teacher and you're using your body, you can stand. You don't have to necessarily sit and use your hands, flashcards, your facial expressions. It's definitely possible.
Okay. And which were the main challenges when you applied your technique?
I would say that main challenges was to have all the students connected, all the students paying attention to you. So, well, something else I was going to say was that to always be walking around the classroom, not staying put in the center, in the front of the classroom, but making sure that all students are somehow connected. Because if you pass by in the back or the little group is chatting, well, they'll see that you're coming by, and there might be a way for them to connect and try to engage in the activity.
Mhm. Well, and finally, what types of additional games did you use to conduct reviews? Because it's a really good way to provide feedback, well, without intimidating the students.
All right, I did two specific games. One was basically write down, let's say we're viewing countries, write down the countries on pieces of paper, and then in pairs they would choose a country and have a meaningful conversation. I would usually write down the example, the sentence structure of the conversation on the board so that they can have it, and like that they would be interacting with each other. Other than that, I also used a game which we all know, which is do you want to be a millionaire? I think, yeah, you want to be a millionaire, with whenever they were sitting in those 5 lines so that they can work in groups, in the groups of the 5 lines, and it would be related to what we were learning.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much for your answers and for providing a value for all of us here this afternoon. Thank you, Melissa, once again. And now let's continue with next course, dear students. It's time for technology in foreign language teaching with a gamification resource called Daily Routines in Action by Ingrid Yajaira Valareso. So, Ingrid, remember that you have 10 minutes to do your presentation.
Okay, so thank you so much. Great. Let me do something here. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ingrid Yajaira Valareso, and today I want to show you my final product from Laminova, which is a gamified resource. And the first thing you have to know about this resource is that it was especially designed for A1 to A2 student levels who need to improve the simple present tense in English, especially for, especially to the third person singular. And in this resource, students are also going to learn how to use correctly adverb frequency, as well as auxiliary verbs do and does. Related to the gamification elements, this resource has so many interactive videos. Most of them are songs and some others are like explanatory videos. So that will help the students to complete successfully each activity. Also, this resource has activities such as filling the blanks, choosing the correct option, matching the pictures with the corresponding image. Yeah. So, and also related to the implementation plan, this research was designed to be completed in a single 40 to 50 minutes class. But I think it's gonna depend about how the teacher implements the research, because maybe if she decides to explain the grammar before implementing the research, then the time can vary just a little bit. And related to the expected outcomes from this resource, it will surely increase engagement in students because, as I was telling you, these resources have so many interactive activities. And while they're developing these activities, they're gonna be constantly receiving instant feedback. Also, these results are gonna help to improve students' language skills, because throughout all the activity, the students are gonna be constantly interacting, reading sentences, maybe writing, and listening as well because of the videos. And finally, I strongly believe this type of exercise increases students' confidence and motivation, because as I was telling you before, they're gonna be receiving constantly feedback, and I think that feedback gonna reinforce and gonna make them feel comfortable each time they're just like advancing in the activities. So knowing this, I think we can just explore the results. So there is something important that you have to know about this result, and is that it was mainly designed to to improve the grammatical part in the students. So most of the results is about grammar, but as I was telling you, they're gonna be practicing that part in an interactive way. So this is my results, daily routines in action. This is some brief introduction for students, so that they can know what they're gonna find in the results. And second, we have this slides. This like welcoming for them, and the slide number 2 basically also tell them key points that they're gonna be interacting in the results. So after that, this is some like welcoming song. So basically, it's all about the daily routines. So they're gonna find some characters singing about things that they usually do in the day, you know. So after finishing this song, students can interact with the whole results. As you can see, these results have 5 sections. So I already developed the rest of the section so that I can show you each section quickly because of the time. But we're going to explore section 1. In section 1, students are going to recognize and conjugate common verbs in simple present with a third person singular. In this video, they're gonna learn about the grammar in a very interactive way. And after they finish this video, they're gonna feel like prepared to develop the activity. And as you can see, here is the activity. So when the student finish watching the video, they're gonna develop this activity. Basically, they have to read the sentence, and they choose the correct option and send the option they chose, and they're gonna receive instant feedback, as you can see. So also maybe if they made a mistake, they are gonna also like receive and feedback that basically this feedback is gonna give them like a clue, so that in the second attempt they can just do it better, you know. So they can retry it and match the correct option. And that's what they're gonna do in the next questions. So Lucy does her homework in the afternoon. She goes shopping on Saturdays. The cat sleeps on the couch. Yeah. Okay, the second part from the section number 1 basically is to reinforce what the student did in the previous activity. You know, as you can see, there is an image, and next to the image there is the whole sentence. You know, so we have to complete it so that we can move on to the next one. And that's it. In this section, which is named Now Connect All State, they're gonna also match match the statement with a correct sentence. You know, like during the class, they're gonna read all the sentences, and they're gonna choose the one which is accurate to the statement. You know, like during class, he doesn't use his phone during lessons, breakfast done. He usually eats cereals and fruit, green dressed. He wears a clean uniform, wake up time. He wakes up at 6:30 a.m. and going to school. He never arrives late for classes. As you can see, every time they develop each activity, they're gonna receive instant feedback, you know? So we can move on to the next one. Okay, something that I want to show you is that every time a student complete a section, as you can see, so the progress is gonna be shown, okay? So in section 2, students are also going to watch an explanatory video so that can be like ready to develop the activities. So as you can see, this time they have to match the word with the correct image. In this time, it's like picture that matches the word wake up or the action wake up. Then here it is. Now picture that matches the word brush your teeth. So I'm telling you, I already developed it because of the time. So I just want to show you what are the sections about. And as you can see, this one is related to matching images with the corresponding word. Great. The second part of this section is also related to completing the sentence. So as you can see, I already developed it. So he usually wakes up 6 a.m. and in that way the students are going to finish the activity. So that was section 2. Now in section 3, students are going to learn how to use correctly adverbs of frequency. But I don't know, this is a very engaging song in which students are going to learn how to use correctly adverbs of frequency, but at the same time, they're going to learn vocabulary. And they also can have fun just singing the song. So I want to put just a brief part of the song so that you can get an idea about about how are the songs, I would say. So like, I don't know if you're listening. Just some short part.
How often do you brush your teeth?
How often do you?
Always, I always brush my teeth.
Okay, so because of the time, that's enough. But this kind of songs students are gonna be like finding in these resource. After that, the students are going to watch an explanatory video, but remember, all the explanations are very interactive and easy to understand. And after finishing the video, they can just start doing the activity or developing it. So, so she hates vegetable, so she never eats it, and so on. So, and that's all for section 3. In section 4, which is called Grammar Detective, students are going to identify the correct form of verb and auxiliary things in questions and answers in the simple present tense with the third person within dialogues. So basically, in here, students are going to learn how to use correctly. How to use correctly, like, oh my God, I forgot the word. Auxiliary verbs. Yeah, that's the word. So the auxiliary verbs do and does. And after finishing the video, as the rest of the section, they are gonna also develop or complete the activity, which also has questions. In here, this is another sound, and also it's for like it's to reinforce student knowledge. Very funny. So in the second section, from section 4, they're also going to complete like a story, but it's divided into sentences. And in that way, they complete section 4. And finally, in section 5, they're going to find like 5 simple questions, but this section like collect all the grammar the student explored during the whole resource, you know, like 5 specific questions, like answering questions related to present simple in third persons in singular, also practicing adverbs of frequency and the use of auxiliary verbs do and does. And I think that's all. That's all about my research.
Ingrid, once again, thank you for sharing your amazing resource with us this afternoon. And the chat is in YouTube is plenty of positive comments regarding your resource. Keeping in mind design, engagement, etc. And we'd like to know if did you have the chance to apply it during your teaching practice this term?
Yeah, but it was not what I expected because we invite some maybe students that were in a higher level. That's why it couldn't be like that engaging for them because it was easy for them, but we did.
Okay, but should if you applied probably in another context, well, it would work very well.
Yeah.
And the comments in the chat anyway, they said that it's excellent, that it shows your dedication, creativity, the time that you invested in it, etc. So for all of them, it has been amazing. And Ingrid, what inspired your decision during the design process? You have something that inspired you?
I mean, related to the resource itself, or maybe like design it in this way, like very interactive or something like that.
Both.
Both. Great. First, I know that some students are having problem with LavinNova, but I think that this period we had the correct elements to create an excellent resource, thanks to the teacher Valeria, because she gave us that tool. So I mean, last semester I also had the opportunity to watch a very, very engaging and funny resource, and I wanted to do the same. But the last period, I mean, I didn't have the tool, but this time, thanks to the teacher Valeria, we could just get to know a little bit more about LavinNova, and I just wanted to do an excellent job. So I take my time. I was so dedicated to creating it. And yeah, and related to the topic is because okay, when I was learning English, I also have so many problems with the use of third person in singulars, and I think that it was going to be like a great idea to create resources that help students with those issues. I was at.
Okay, amazing. Well, Ingrid, thank you for your presentation. And it also, as previous presentations, have also provided value to our students and to all of us this afternoon. Okay, now it's time for the last course in our immersion block, immersion practicum courses block. So we are going to watch now a video shared from the course Integral Pedagogical Practice from the students Natalia Dusan Tovar and Daisy Natalia Cordova with a resource called The Verb to Be a Challenge. So, okay, Daisy, we are ready to watch the video or the information that you want to share with us this afternoon.
Thank you. Are you listening to me properly?
Yes, we can listen to you.
Thank you for confirming. If Professor Jessica is here, could you help me please with the screen? Because I was having some issues with my resource. So, Professor Jessica, could you please help me?
Yes, I'm on my way. Just give me one second.
Thank you.
Let me share with...
Okay, in the meanwhile, as Professor Liliana was saying before, our resource title is The Verb to Be Challenge. It's a gamified resource, and we chose, as a team, we chose this topic because this is the basis point to start exploring grammar. But first of all, let me to talk to you about our target audience. We designed this resource thinking about A1 level population. I mean, students from 3rd and 4th grades who have just begun learning English. This resource is suitable for children aged between 8 and 10 years, including those people who have little or not previous experience with any of the grammatical structures. Maybe I'm going to answer a couple of questions beforehand, but I would like to tell you that as a fun fact, that in my previous pedagogical practice scenario, my leader teacher told me like, Daisy, I spent almost 2 terms, 2nd and 3rd term, and I cannot move on to another topic because my students, they don't remember the structures, they forget the verbs, and it's very, very annoying for them learning grammatical structures. So thinking about these issues, as a team, we decided to design this resource. This resource was created as a support tool for young learners, as I said before, who are using English. It is a practical and very clear guide to understand verb to be. Specifically, we are talking about verb to be. It is an essential structure in learning the English language. And this is an interactive activity that practices step by step. This is a very important characteristic of our resource. Students will gradually gain the confidence and the fluency to use the verb to be in real situations, in real communication. Okay, as we can see, we have a lot of features like interactive video, some clickable and animated reactions. Yes, thank you. This is the video, the grammatical explanation.
Hola, amiguito. Yo soy Mumu. Me alegro de que estés aquí. Acabo de preparar el material para nuestra clase. Hoy vamos a aprender el verbo to be. Antes de comenzar, recuerda dejar tu...
Thank you. Okay. As I was saying, our resource is highly interactive with clickables, animated reactions, sound effects, and the most important thing, an user control pace. The students can navigate levels and receive immediate feedback, as well as retry activities. It's important that they have the opportunity to try again and try again. And there is also peer collaboration in group-based activities. Indeed, the design makes students active in their learning process rather than simply passively receiving the learning. Okay, continuing. This resource have several learning objectives. The first is to identify the correct forms of the verb to be in affirmative, negative, and interrogative sentences. Another objective is to relate personal pronouns to the correct form of the verb to be. And it also aims to use verb to be in basic sentence structures, orally and in writing. And finally, it encourages applying the learned structures in real life context and situations. As you can see, there are a lot of exercises, and in this section of the resource, you will find, okay, I cannot see the screen properly. Okay. We already explained the learning objectives. Could you please move on, teacher? To the exercises. Yes. Perfect. Here we have the first quiz. So the instruction is correct. Choose the correct option. You are going, okay. This is the second, third question. All of these exercises are about choosing the correct option. And the feedback, as you can see, can you choose the feedback, please? Okay. Here is an interesting message about the feedback. Oops, remember, I am, he, she is, and you, we, they are. Keep practicing and reviewing the pronoun chart to match them correctly. Thank you. Okay. As you can see, the sentences are related to real life context. Yes, 2 remaining attempts. There are several attempts. Okay. In the part of evaluating the knowledge, students will need to select the correct form of the verb to be in simple sentences. A student will read each sentence carefully and choose the best answer from the 4 options provided by the resource. If they make mistakes, they will have the chance to try again. Additionally, they should pay attention to the feedback given to each question so they can learn, see and understand where the mistake was. Okay. This is another part with number 2. Perfect. They need to select the correct option. Yes, the feedback is very complete and detailed, so they can see in the second attempt, they can have a clue about the correct sentence or grammatical structure. Yes. And at the same time, we are introducing some simple vocabulary about verbs, adjectives, times of the day. I would like to tell you that we applied our resource with a different level and aged students, and it was successful because our students were about 15 and I don't know, 25 years, were older than our third and fourth grade students, but it was successful because they have fun creating these sentences. They remember the grammatical structure, and they had the opportunity to explore interactive resource because it is not usual in the in their educational context to find this kind of resources to learn grammatical structures. So this is all my presentation. Thank you for listening and thank you for paying attention. I am willing to solve any questions.
Okay. Daisy, thank you for presenting us with your resource in Lavinova. As well in the chat we can see several messages congratulating you because of your efforts and all that. Professor Garcia, can you mute your microphone, please? Thank you. And well, as many of your peers here are precisely pointing that Lavinova requires a lot of investment of time, design, and many things. And yeah, some people might think that it's not so easy to work on it, but it might, I don't know, imply effort, research, etc. So, was it so difficult for you both to develop the resource?
Taking into account that we have an useful tool like the planning and checking form, we start winning because this format is very clear. The steps to create it are clear. So yes, we invested a lot of time and investigation in our classroom, in our pedagogical practice scenarios, trying to guess or not guess, but try to research the topics that are more suitable for these kind of resources. But I think, and my team believe that it was not difficult.
Okay, good. So that those are motivational words for your peers here, who for some of them might be so hard, so difficult. So it's not so that hard as we might think. Now, how did you decide, you both, how did you decide what to include or what to prioritize when you designed your resource?
Okay, we were thinking about different learning styles, and we took into account that when students are exposed to those kind of resources, like interactive resources, like videos or games. For example, I had the opportunity to apply in my scenario a lot of digital resources, interactive games. So we start thinking about what students likes the most. So we did a list of some elements that students are more willing to enjoy and what motivates them. So that was like our criteria to include the elements in our resource.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your answers, Daisy. And now, everybody, it's time to vote for this block, the immersion block. In the chat, you can see now the link to select according to your perception, your thoughts, and the resource or the presentation that most interests you. And at the end of today's session, at the end of the Agora, we will be announcing the winner of this block, okay? So remember that we have here 4 different resources and a meaningful experience from the courses teaching English to children, adolescents, and adults, teacher development, technology in foreign language teaching, and integral pedagogical practice. You can see there the name of the person. For the course teaching English to children, adolescents, and adults, remember that we had our students Liz Carolay Palomino and Jesus Daniel Perez. And for the course teacher development for the meaningful experience, Catch the Ball, Catch the Hearts from Melissa Ospina, by Melissa Ospina. From the course Technology in Foreign Language Teaching, Daily Routines in Action by Ingrid Yajaira Velareso. And from Integral Pedagogical Practice, the educational resource, The Verb to be Challenged by Natalia Dusan and Daisy Cordova. So, meanwhile you vote, you select the experience or the gamification resource or the educational resource from this block. We are going to the next block of courses, of practicum courses, the research or investigation practicum courses. So Professor Juana Valentina Rosso will be presenting this part.
All right, so good afternoon to everyone. I'm really happy to be the one who's going to be introducing the students who are developing their research practice. And we are going to be presenting some of the works that have been developed in the research pedagogical practice. I want you guys to remember that it was not easy for us to select a specific research in order to be presented over here, and that we encourage and we are happy for those who decided to maybe be selected to present their works but didn't get to be selected. Maybe next time, maybe we could keep working on your research exercise as well as part of your final work to opt for your title for the degree by the end of the career. So for educational research course, we are going to have Sharik Liliana, and she's going to present her research that is called Improve Listening Skills by Using Resources in Classroom Activities. Then we will have the research pedagogical practice course. And in this course, we're going to have Efraín Daniel Mercado Quiñones, who is going to present his research, which is called Effect of Skimming and Scanning Techniques on Reading Comprehension of Continuous English Text in 11th grade students, a study at Santa Rosa de Lima School. And for closing our activity, we're going to have Oscar Hernando Cárdenas, who is a student from the course Pedagogical Practice in Online Environments. And he's going to be presenting his research that is called Strategies to Enhance Student Engagement in Virtual Classrooms. So to begin with the presentation of the research experiences, we are going to open the space to Sharik Liliana. Sharik Liliana, are you over here?
Okay, I'm going to share her video.
Great.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sharik Cárdenas, and it is a pleasure for me to present my research proposal, which is called Improve Receptive Skills by Using Listening Resources in Classroom Activities. This research was conducted at Policarpa Salabarrieta School to integrate listening-focused activities such as audio, video, and especially songs into English classes, grounded in the natural approach to second language acquisition. The study aimed to enhance students' oral comprehension in an engaged and meaningful way. Data was collected through field diaries, semi-structured interviews, and formative assessments, focusing on students' behavior, emotions, and learning experiences. The results showed increased motivation, active participation, and positive attitudes toward listening activities. Songs and videos were particularly effective in helping students understand vocabulary and grammar in context, boosting their overall listening comprehension. In conclusion, the use of these audiovisual tools proved to be a valuable strategy for improving listening skills and enhancing students' engagement in the English classroom. Now, the keywords of this working paper are listening resources, listening skills, communication, language acquisition, and pedagogical tools. Okay, research highlights the importance of listening skills in language acquisition, with songs and videos serving as effective tools for improving comprehension and students' engagement. The natural approach to language learning emphasizes listening and speaking over grammar-focused methods. However, students still face challenges such as low vocabulary and poor listening comprehension, which hinder their learning process. This study aims to explore how integrate listening activities, especially through songs and videos, can improve listening skills, motivation, and communication abilities in English classes. By using field diaries, interviews, and assessments, the research seeks to propose strategies to address the challenges and enhance students' language learning experience. The proposal is based theoretically on the natural approach, reading of creation and terror, which tell us the most appropriate way to learn a foreign language is we did with our mother tongue, without so much grammar and more practice of listening and speaking. We also have the multimodal contribution of audiovisual learning, which show us the importance of resources such as songs and videos for multisensory understanding, retention of information, and motivation. And finally, the emphatic listening of Vitalaki and Katsarau, which relates emotions to learning, and within this teach us about the importance of motivation and interaction in the development of listening skills. For the methodological foundation, this research was carried out with a model of active participation, as the educational community was involved, and also with a quantitative model of data analysis, which were collected by means of field diaries, as I took notes from all classes, what is involved in them, and the perception of the students. Semi-structured interviews where participants were asked how they felt about the activities, and formative assessments with open questions at any time during the class. The strategies used were songs and videos, which were incorporated into all classes as possible. A natural approach because it brought to the classroom the importance of listening skills. The participants were students in elementary school, 1st to 5th grade, and in the data analysis, observe patterns, student reflections, and performance in tasks. The results are increasing the participation and motivation in the classes due to incorporation of listening activities in digital platforms, were good reflections and perceptions from the participants about the listening activities, and the identification of a big challenge in the process of improvement and practice in the area related with the English communicative skills. And to conclude, songs and videos are effective tools to enhance listening comprehension and increase student motivation in English classes. The natural approach promotes meaningful language exposure, helping students develop listening skills in a more intuitive and enjoyable way. And the continuous practice and exposure to authentic listening materials are essential to strengthen students' comprehension and confidence in English. Okay, that was it. Thank you for your attention.
All right. So we had the research experience presented by the Sharik Liliana, and she was a student from educational research. Now let's open the space for Efraín Daniel Mercado, who is presenting his research experience developed in the course Research Pedagogical Practice. The research experience that is going to be presented is called Effect of Skimming and Scanning Techniques on Reading Comprehension of Continuous Text in 11th grade students, a study at Santa Rosa de Lima School. So Efraín, remember that you have 10 minutes to present your experience. And please let us know, you guys in the chat, if you have any questions for Efrain so we can ask him whatever you want to know about his research.
All right, thanks, tutor. Can you hear me properly? All right. Okay. So, good afternoon, almost good evening, dear tutors and course mates. Well, I'll be talking about the research pedagogical process that I developed in the institution in the school I am assigned. I am a student from a ninth semester period. And well, let's begin. My research study is called Effect of Skimming and Scanning Techniques on Reading Comprehension of Continuous English Tests in 11th grade students, a study at Santa Rosa de Lima School. Well, first of all, I have here the abstract of my document of my research process, and the abstract mentions a bit about what I did. So this research study, this study case was conducted with a group of 25 11th grade students from the Santa Rosa de Lima Educational Institution. That is an institution here in Montería, Córdoba, a public institution here in Montería, Córdoba. The objective of this study was determine whether the application of skimming and scanning techniques improves the comprehension of continuous text in English in order to contribute to better the performance in the English section of the ICFES Saber 11 test. So what I did first, right before starting my pedagogical process, was to talk to the teacher in charge in the institution, and I asked her what she saw among her students, what did they have to improve, what was their flaws or weaknesses, and she told me that she saw that they weren't good at reading long English tests. So that's when I found my problem, and I decided to craft initial diagnostic test, and I administered that test using a mock text from an ICFES test. And after that, when I administered this test, I then implemented 2 classes in order to help the students to improve their skills in reading English tests. So I used these 2 techniques skimming and scanning. And after these classes were conducted, I deliver a second test, a final test, also based on a mock test from ICFEC section. And after that, I then compare the first test, the pre-diagnostic test, and the last test. I compare these results in order to analyze possible improvement, to identify general ideas and locate specific information. So what was the result? The result shows a significant improvement, as I'm going to mention later on, because an 18.29% average overall improvement was achieved compared to the results obtained in the first test. Okay, so as an introduction for my study, I have to mention that when I was thinking about my students, when I was assigned to 11th grade students, I started to think the importance of reading comprehension skills. So later on, I looked for information, looked for a theoretical foundation that tell me that told me about what or how important it is to help our students to gain and strengthen reading skills. So I found that Agustin et al. Delivered conducted a research when they demonstrated significant improvement in the reading comprehension of the students, and this study corroborated the beneficial impact of skimming and scanning techniques for improvement of reading skills. After that, I also looked for Toro A and Ramirez R. In this study, I found that students who received explicit instruction in these techniques show significant gains in reading comprehension skills. So, as evidenced by pre and post test comparisons. And after delivering this thorough research, and I also research with more authors and more studies, I acknowledge the importance of these techniques in the Colombian context, because English proficiency remains a challenge for many students today. So with this study, I wanted to contribute to the growing body of evidence supporting the use of skimming and scanning as effective tools for enhancing and improving reading comprehension skills. So here I'll talk a bit about the theoretical foundation of my research process. And here I have that I looked for three core concepts. The first concept was learning strategies and their impact on reading comprehension. So I looked for learning strategies, I looked for cognitive strategies, and I looked for metacognitive strategies. These metacognitive strategies help me to plan my process. So they talk about the planning, the monitoring, and the evaluating. So I deliver explicit training with my students, and the outcome is that they improve their performance. So the second core concept that I looked for was this strategic learning and student autonomy. I need them to deliver their autonomy because the test that they're going to present is the 11 ICPES test, and they're going to do it by themselves. This is an individual test. So I need them to reinforce the autonomy capabilities they need to develop. And the number three concept that I look for was the relationship between guided practice and skill transfer. So I use here the guided practice theory that was proposed by Person and Dole, and by reading these concepts, they help me a lot to craft a sequential learning strategies for my students. So I then first explained them what they had to do, the techniques. I did a lot of practice with them, and the outcome was to successfully transfer strategies. So that's what I first did. And the methodological foundation, that means what I did with my students. Well, we have here 4 branches, and the purple branch shows what I did. That was to implement a pre-diagnostic test. And also, when I delivered this pre-diagnostic test, I found that they were weak in the reading comprehension skills of continuous test. The test was conducted with 25 students, as I mentioned before, and after that, then I went to the main part of the research. That is, I wanted them to apply these reading techniques when they were going to read any test at any level, and I want them to engage in this process. So I applied the techniques in the class. Then after that, after these classes that were around six classes or two classes with around 6 hours. After that, I then delivered the skimming scanning test, the final test, and this was designed with multiple choice questions as ICFES implements. After that, after they delivered this test, I also deliver a survey in order for me to gain or to obtain their insights, their opinions, and their thoughts on this research process. The results, I have here the results, and the results are that in the first test, that is the column that is of the blue column, I have here the results of the first test, and the results for the second test are the green columns. Here you can see, guys, can see clearly that the green column shows better results and an improvement. And as I mentioned in the beginning, this improvement was of 18.29 percentage of improvement. So I was really happy because I gained or I obtained positive results. And as a conclusion of this research, I draw the training and skimming and scanning. It has positive effects on reading comprehension. I have proof of that. Well, this can be seen in the significant improvement demonstrated by the participants in the comprehension of continuous tests. So, as a final result, I can say or I can conclude that the integration of skimming and scanning techniques can be an effective pedagogical strategy to improve and strengthen English reading skills within the Colombian educational context. And just before I finish, I would like to show you what was the mock test that I used, that I implemented. This was the first one, that is called the world's favorite food. And here I have the questions just as they have to do when they present the English ICFES test. This was the second test that I implemented. And here I have a picture that shows the evidence that I work with them. I use some digital researches, such as presentation, such as mock tests in paper with them in order for them to improve their skills in identifying general and specific information. So this is a bit about what I did in the Santa Rosa de Lima school. Thanks all for
Alright,
watching
Efrain.
my.
Thank you very much for your presentation and for sharing with us the process of your research. There are a lot of comments from the partners in the chat, and a lot of them are talking about how you were explaining everything so clear and consistently. But there was one question that somebody like asked, and he said, how was the context into the classroom? How were students like engaging with the process of the classes and the process, like the activities that you were applying?
Okay, well, due to the time constraints, I obviously didn't mention and skip that part. But the students, they engage when I deliver the mock test. I use two mock tests besides what I mentioned or what I showed here. And right in the development of the classes, I delivered this mock test, and we were doing a very detailed process. For example, I explained the technique. For example, I explained that skimming helps us to identify the main general idea, and then I mentioned then, hey, read the whole test, but do it quickly, and then after that, after doing this process, you are going to tell me in your own words what's the main idea of the test. So we have the instrument. They had the instruments on their hands, And after that, we did a lot of questions in order for me to identify if they were understanding or not what we were doing. And I did the same, the exact same thing with the scanning techniques. So we have the mock test, they have their mock text on their hands, and we were just doing a step by step, identifying the information. We were diving into the questions, and I was giving them the tips that I had shared previously in the development of the class. So that way, I helped them to engage with the class, and also after that, I also did a pair activity where one of them was the teacher and the other one was the student, and they had to explain each other what way they were doing.
All right, Efrain, thank you very much. Thank you for sharing your experience with us. And we are going just to continue with Oscar Hernando Cárdenas. He is a student from the course Pedagogical Practice in Online Environments and is going to talk us about his experience that is called Strategies to Enhance Student Engagement in Virtual Classrooms. Remember, Oscar, that you will only have 10 minutes, and after that, we are going to finish with you, okay?
Hello, hello. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Yes?
Yeah,
Oh,
we can.
excellent. Okay, it's a moment to start. Greetings, everybody. My name is Oscar Cárdenas. Glad to be here. I'm from the course of Strategy to Enhance Student Engagement into Virtual Classroom. So, what is this about? Okay, allow me to explain. But first, let me. Oh, sorry. I made a mistake here. I'm sorry for the troubles. Sorry. Uh, okay, sorry. Much better. We should screen the screen. So let's continue. So allow me to share with you my research poster. Now, what is this about? Well, when we talk about virtual education, we have a lot of opportunity, but also a lot of trouble. What do you mean by that? Yeah, I know gamification, our strategy, personal activities, but at the same time, our students have access to a computer. So it's really easy for they to get, oh yeah teacher, I'm paying attention to you. Or, yeah, sure, yeah, scrolling videos, surfing the net, chatting with friends, even playing in the class. So capture attention is a challenge, a real challenge. And of course we check out our traditional method, sharing the screen and maybe show some slides and try to manage a lot of fonts and multimedia content at the same time. It's really hard to pay attention to all the students in this condition. So I guess it's moment to change this a little bit. So what is the objective of this? Analyze strategies that enhances student engagement and active participation in virtual classroom. So let's talk about the research approach. Of course, this is a mixed method because we need to analyze student engagement and active participation in classroom. For one side, we have qualitative approaches because we need to check it out the student perception, our own perception of the class when we check it out the class recording, analyzing all mistake, and the quantitative, because the student performance, did it work, don't work, I need to check this or that. So what will be our research design? Simple. This is an action research because we need to make an intervention here. We are going to implement a new tool. We are going to implement an activities. That is intervention. So let's talk about the population. A student from the course of English 3. I got two groups, one of 4 students and the other of 5 students. Really more simple, easy to manage, but this allowed me to start experiment with a new stuff. How we are going to collect data? Well, classroom observation. Oh, yeah, teacher, but that's really classic. But how I'm gonna do that? Take into account that I had to manage a lot of stuff in a virtual classroom. Oh, yeah, that's why we got classroom recording. Please take that into account because we don't need it. Now, continue. So first, we need to analyze that recording behavior. I mentioned it before the class recording, but what is important, teacher? Okay, let me to explain to you. First, when we are in the classroom, we have to manage. Oh my God, I had to cut the link. I had to do this. Oh my God. Okay, tell me that. Let me check your activity. Okay, you are doing a lot of stuff, but you don't have time to evaluate yourself, evaluate your student, how they interact in the class. That's why we check around the recording. Maybe the aptitude, the voice on the student, maybe can show that they are bored or something like that. Or maybe, while you are doing this, maybe you are checking on some flashcard and you end like this. Out of the square, and, oh yeah, paraphrasing is an important result. Now, this is a bad impression. Maybe while you're checking now, checking the cloud, or wherever, you end then talking like that all the class. Even if you are checking on in front the presentation, you should raise your look to the camera. Yeah, those little factors. This is not something that you will do perfectly at the first try. No, you will try again. Okay, check it out. Let's do the first class. I made this mistake. Okay, I will take notes. Let's do it again and again and again, step by step. Okay, don't feel bad that you made mistake. No, it's okay. It's part of the learning. We are ready to become teacher. It's not easy. So continue with the student feedback. So we can use form and we can talk with them. That depends on you. Depends on your style. It's fine. In my case, I use both. I have positive impression. They really like this interface, good interface that you are watching right now. It was cool. So they really like the methodology, like the activity, like the attitude that I project, that energy. Yeah, they help to keep them in change and focus on the class. So the next part is evaluated class recording. You have to be autocritical with yourself. Be hard, but not too hard. Okay? Oh, okay. I check out the recording and I end like the half of the class talking like that. I had to change that. I had to, okay. Oh, maybe this class was a little boring because in this class I implemented a lot of writing activities. Was kind of heavy by the student. And of course, I think you have to consider limitation. In this case, the research project use a small sample, but for future reference and future research, that would be great use bigger ones. So, what we got from all this? Analysis observing, the recording, the feedback, the student, using a friendly interface and space, using gamification elements, a real-time feedback, what can increase the students' commitment, the participation, the attention. Yeah? Simple. But what we have find of all this? Well, interacting tools like OBS Studio that you are watching right now, decision-making activities, maybe mini games, implementing gamification, Kahoot, or maybe Nearpod, get a better score, use letting space for the student to express themselves using the topics, their point of view, or maybe, who knows, and make a change in the dynamic of the activity, not all the time just read, or speak, maybe combine a little bit other English skills. It will be less heavy for the student, or maybe using less tools, not 10, just focusing a few ones, prepare for the activities. Okay, can create an environment more friendly, more comfortable for the student. Yeah. So, what we have learned is, well, for that, let me tell you. First, don't be scared to try new things or learn to manage a new tool. Okay, I take like a 2 full weeks learning how to use it, but as a result, with just a simple click, I can boom a class, an entire class. We don't need to change the screen or make a lot of change here. Okay, cool. And if I need to go back to a presentation, boom, the presentation. So let's continue with the conclusion. It's possible. For the first one, is it possible to adapt non-educational tools to improve the student perception? Okay, a positive perception of yourself will be more professional. The student will feel like, oh, this class looks very professional and very prepared. It's cool, like high-level class. Oh, can improve a little bit with points. And don't get scared of trying new things. You don't need to look for a specified design for educative purpose. You can use other, wide your perspective. Second one is that we can create activities that aim for student needs, not of what the students want exactly or their strong point. No, we are going to attack the weakness. Oh, let's suppose a student have problem reading. Okay, so instead of oversaturating the student with a lot of text and paragraph and a lot of reading compression activity and tests, we can start with something simple. Okay, let's start with one sentence, grammar, one sentence, two sentences, one paragraph, three paragraphs, a lot of paragraphs, a book. I don't know. Wait, like a step by step, like a letter. There's no need to rush the things. It's fine. And of course, as a last conclusion, you can have the best interface of the world, the best tool of the world, the best class, the presentation, activity, designed by the NASA, whatever you want. But by itself, technology is not enough. It won't solve your problem. It won't cap magically the attention of your student. We need to do more than that. As a teacher, it's in our hands, uses these tools properly for our students. It's in our hands as an educator. Thank you very much. I was Oscar Carnas, and that will be all. Thank you, thank you.
All right, Carlos. Thank you very much. Everybody was talking about how energetic and how, or Oscar, how energetic and how active you were, wishing they had a tutor like you in their English classes. And they all are congratulating you and are inspired by your energy. Well, you have in the chat. We don't have any questions for you in the chat besides like congratulations to you, and maybe they're also telling that you woke everybody up in the meeting. So thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you very much for sharing with us such a great energy as well. And now we are going to first I wanted to tell you guys in the chat that we have already the voting process available for you to vote for the best experience that you encountered in this research part. And now we are also going to have the attendance form ready for you to fill in. So now we're going to have, I think, Professor and Professor Luz, who are going to be sharing with us
Dina.
the results.
Dina is going to show, but I
Okay.
can't share my screen. Okay, now, yeah, I got it. All right. All right, my dear students. This is the time for voting. Let's see, for voting, or to see the person who is the winner. All right. So just give me one moment. I'm gonna show you here the wait, I don't know how to do. Okay, I got it. So wait, I don't know what happened. Well, let's see. I can do bigger. But the winner for this the first phase is Immersion, and the winner is Natalia da Santovar. So thank you, Natalia. You're the winner for this presentation in Immersion phase. Congratulations. Your project stood out for its immersion, innovation, impact, clarity, creativity. So that was the results for Immersion phase. And what about research? Let's see. Okay, now I got it. For Immersion, we have Oscar Hernando Cárdenas. He got 142 votes. So congratulations to Oscar and Natalia. Once again, thank you all for being part of this event. Keep creating, keep innovating, and never stop learning and teaching.
Alrighty, so now, Dinita, could you please just go back to the presentation so we can just close the session?
Sure, all right.
So we are going to be having a final reflection on the event that we had today, on the experience that we all were sharing over here. As I was telling you before, it wasn't easy for us to come to us just one person presenting their work over here. Like the fact that your work wasn't presented over here doesn't mean that your work wasn't good enough. It just means that it was really hard, really difficult for us as the tutors, as the course directors, to be able to select just one document or just one student. So I would like to have you guys in the chat answering these questions for reflection that I have over here before we finish and before we just leave the session. I would want to know, what are you taking with you from this session? What are you taking with you from the experience of listening to others? Or maybe if you were one of the students who were presenting their experience, what are you taking with you? What will you apply in your future classroom? What are those things that you maybe are going to apply in your future classroom? Or what are those light bulbs that just like started shining today and you are going to start like, oh, okay, maybe I could just start researching, or maybe I could just start doing this or that. Share with us any insight, story, or strategy that left a mark on you from today's session, but also from the experience of the research or the pedagogical practice during the academic term. And as we come to the close of this meaningful event, I want to take a moment to recognize and celebrate the incredible journey that you have made during this academic term. Seeing all the results that you guys have been presenting today has been amazing for us as teachers, but as I could see from the chat, also for everyone in this learning community that we are building together. Remember that this is also a way of writing down the kind of testament of the growth of everyone as future teachers. Remember that these are the first steps that you are taking as future teachers, and as the teachers that you are doing and that you are working as today. So I hope that you guys stepped into the classrooms not only to teach English, but also to inspire, to support, and to adapt into the wilderness that classrooms often offers us. I hope that you get to learn and get to mature a lot more each time. I hope that all of you guys start to reflect on the fact that being a teacher is being a role model, and that being a teacher is having a huge responsibility into how to shape the future of Colombia. So I would want to ask and remind those who were being a little bit aggressive, maybe those who were being selfless and selfish in the chat, talking about their time and not only not caring about the experience that we're sharing over here. I would want to know and I would want to please remind all of those who are taking and are developing their teaching program in this university that we are supposed and we are expecting from teachers to be patient, to be a lot more responsible and respectful. I hope that you guys remember that being a teacher is shaping the future and shaping Colombia. So I would want to read some of the comments. For example, Monica, she's taking with her a great experience. She's saying that listening to the different research expositions has opened her mind to various activities to work with my students. We hope that you all guys are inspired. Violet is saying that their creativity, aptitude, and how they really make an effort to try to improve their English classes. I think the creativity is very important to make a different class, bring innovation into classes. Thank you, Gina. Diego is saying, I'm taking with me the experiences of the other teachers to keep improving my school practices day by day. By other hands, it's important to bear in mind that research is the key process to generate change. Haider is saying, I am very grateful for having these spaces. I also am very impressed to see my partners presenting their project where they were able to show the fruits of their pedagogical process. Estefania Giraldo, I am taking with me Oscar's energy. I would love to apply or have more effort to the next lab in Nova. We just need more time and information on how to improve. Thank you for this. Let's see. So in the Padlet, we also have people saying, I believe one significant takeaway, this is by Laura Vanessa Barrios. One significant takeaway I learned through teaching, which was never explicitly taught to me, is the importance of being flexible and adapting to the unexpected. While lesson planning is essential, I discovered that real learning often happens in spontaneous moments when students ask unexpected questions, struggle with concept, or connect personally with the material. I believe this takeaway is crucial for other educators to consider because it reminds us that teaching is not just about delivering content. It is about responding to the needs and emotions of our students in real time. Flexibility, it allows us to be present, build stronger relationships with learners, and create more meaningful and inclusive educational experiences. Beatriz says that she's taken away with her the importance of adaptability. Every group of students is different, and that works well for one, that thing that works well for one classroom may not work for another. Ana Gutierrez is saying that as a teacher, initially she focused mostly on delivering content and clearly and thoroughly. However, I soon realized that the students engage much more deeply when they feel heard, respected, and supported, creating a positive learning environment where students are not afraid to make mistakes or ask questions. Makes a significant difference in their motivation and process. This taught to me that teaching is not just about transferring knowledge, but also about building trust and meaningful relationships that empower learners. So I hope that you guys got a lot of experiences and that you got a lot of takeaways with you from this experience. And I hope that as well you get into the research courses with the view of having research as a tool, as an asset to improve your teaching exercise, your teaching practice, to improve your experience and to teach the experience your students are having into the classroom. Dinita, could you go to the next slide, please?
That one?
Yeah, but we are having some issues with the forum because we have a lot of people trying to fill in the information over there. So if you could just slow it down over there. We are going to be closing this space. We hope that you got a lot of new experiences, that you got a lot of new ideas. Maybe if not new ideas, you are trying and you are recovering those old ideas that maybe you abandoned at any point. Thank you for sharing with us your valuable time. Thank you for taking the time to interact with us. and to talk to us and to let us know what you thought about the work that your classmates were making. So it was great for us to having you over here. We hope that you get to participate into more of these kind of activities. And we hope that next time it is any of you who are just watching today, the ones who are presenting their experience. Congratulations to all of the 7 students that we had over here taking the word, making their presentations and sharing their work with everyone in here. We had over 1,000 of the students joining in our session, and it was fantastic for us to get to see how well you've been doing your work in the process, how well you've been applying the learnings that you've been getting from the pedagogical practice and from all the process that you've been doing in the Licenciatura. So it was great for us to see you all here. We hope you guys have a great night. You have a great evening. So we will see you next time. Thank you very much.